Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of First Look, Final Word, show where we take you along on a ride to see a movie. I'm here with my friend Trevor.
Oh, and then you're Pete? Is
I'm
that
Pete,
how
yeah.
that works then?
No, let's do that again.
No, let's keep it in. Keep it in.
All right, yeah, we've done it twice already, so you guys won't know that, but we'll keep that in.
Yeah. All right, and yeah, our episode is on The Boy and the Heron, and the IMDb synopsis states it as a young boy named Mahito, yearning for his mother, ventures into a world shared by the living and the dead. There, death comes to an end, and life finds a new beginning. A semi-autobiographical fantasy about life, death, and creation in tribute to friendship from the mind of Hayao Miyazaki.
Oh.
I'm starting to realize that these summaries on IMDb are just written by random people because that wasn't very good.
No, and it didn't tell us anything, which is fine.
Yeah.
I'll know what this movie's about.
Which is fitting because, yeah, I have no real inkling of what is going to happen in this movie or what it's about.
No, and I've, like, I know I say this every time, but I've purposely been avoiding anything about it, so I like that synopsis that I read earlier today is pretty much all I know about it. So, and the poster.
All right, so let's get going here. I'm putting into a verse, and I almost ran into a delivery guy. Sorry about that.
Delivering something to my house.
Oh,
I'm curious to what it is. Wait until next time, I'll tell you. Yeah, so yeah, we're looking about changing the structure a bit this episode, right, Trevor? We're gonna
put a little structure into it.
Yeah, get some, maybe add some more interesting stuff for the drive there, just so that we can vary it up a bit, because we know that if you've not seen the movie, which you likely haven't, because it comes out today or yesterday as you'll be listening to this, because I know you guys are all listening to it on the Friday. So yeah, we're gonna kick off with, what did we say we're gonna start with, Trev?
Yeah, like we can just kind of go over what we've been watching lately.
Right. Yeah. We're gonna keep it a bit more general and just chit chat more about what we've been watching and what we're excited about seeing. So I guess I'll throw it to you, Trevor. What have you been watching this last week or two?
Well, my week started off trying to catch up with The Mandalorian.
Wow.
So I'm
Which season?
No, the most recent season, but
right.
we are very stalled on The Mandalorian. Not that I would say it's bad, it's that it's just very aimless and all over the place.
Yeah. I guess that's fair.
So it's competently made and stuff, but it's doesn't really have a cohesion to it. So it's been a little hard to watch consecutive episodes.
Yeah, it stopped really being The Mandalorian and was more like, well, not about the Mandalorian. It's not about Mando and Grogu anymore. It's more about Mandalorians featuring Mando.
This episode is about the dad from Kim's Convenience, so,
right?
Which I think
play to him.
I think he's a great actor, but I'm like I don't know why he needed his own episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I'm trying to tick off some movies from like my need to see from 2023.
Oh yeah. I'm way behind on mine.
Last night I just watched A Haunting in Venice. Do you know this one?
Oh yeah.
That's
the Poirot one, right?
Yeah, the new Poirot one from Kenneth Branagh, who I think I mentioned very frequently. I do not like him as a director at all, and
I don't really like him as Poirot either.
I think he doesn't have a good take on the character at all.
No.
I didn't enjoy the first two movies, and that being said, I thought this last one was okay.
Yeah, it looked very different from the other two. I have been meaning to watch it because I'm like you. I enjoyed the first two because they're not my best Poirot. I felt like the prequel story about his mustache was a bit unnecessary. We don't need a mustache origin story.
Well, yeah, Kenneth Branagh's just like, well, why would I, such a handsome man, have such a ridiculous mustache?
Yeah, there needs to be a good reason, and everyone needs to know it.
But no, it's good, and it's a horror movie, and so it's a bit of a different take on it.
Yeah.
And Branagh still does all of his dumb Dutch angle stuff that I really hate, but at least in this one, there's an actual purpose behind it.
Right.
And he kind of dials down the Poirot eccentricity stuff, which so the character ends up being a little flat, but I didn't really mind that because I hated what he was doing, the choices he made in the other two movies anyways. So yeah, I think it's good.
Yeah, I think those movies were good in spite of the main character, which is kind of weird to think. But
yeah. How about you? What are you watching lately?
Yeah, they're mostly TV, like yourself. I fell down a rabbit hole. Well, actually, I remembered that I was way behind on What We Do in the Shadows.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah.
you ever watch that?
Yeah, no, I think I'm all caught up.
Yeah, so I realized I had like 2 seasons to catch up on, which made me very happy. So I just sort of like binged that. And then I got on then that put me on a Matt Berry kick, and I went back and watched Toast of London. Have you ever,
Oh
you
no,
ever seen Toast of
I
London?
haven't seen that one though.
It's a very British comedy.
I honestly love him in What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah,
though it's the role he was born to play. It seems like
Exactly. He's so good in that. That's why I wanted to go back and watch it. And I did enjoy it. It wasn't as amazing as I hoped. I think I just heard it was so great, and he's so good in What We Do in the Shadows. I was expecting to just be blown away, but wasn't exactly blown away. But it was plenty of laughs in it.
Is he play the same sort of character?
He does like the very like his whole shtick is like the very pronounced like the way he talks. So
Yeah.
he definitely does a bit of that, but it's just way more like wacky and not wacky, but like surreal, like British comedy is.
Yeah.
Just
Well,
like,
he seems my favorite part of the IT crowd
oh
as
yeah,
well.
yeah. I never got into that for some reason. I don't know why. It should be like that should be really in my sweet spot, but I just never put the effort into watching it.
Oh, you should do it. It's good.
Yeah, maybe I'll do that for my next one because I finished all of Toast now, and I'm kind of just sat waiting. And I never asked you actually. Are you a Rick and Morty fan? Because that's the other thing I'm watching right now.
Yeah, is the new season out?
Yeah, it's like
Okay,
halfway.
yeah.
It's almost done actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm all caught up except for the new episodes.
I remember because we talked in the past about the voice casting, right? The recasting of the voice.
Yeah. So how's that worked?
Honestly, it's fine. It's like you don't even notice it. I don't notice it at all. You could have if I hadn't known, I don't think I would have noticed. There's a few times when you're like, oh, that sounds a bit like different-ish, but that's only because you're looking for it. I think the guys they hired to do the voices do a great job. To be fair,
What I was sort of worried about going in is like, obviously they're going to hire someone who is really good at imitating the voice, but can they do something new with the character that they hadn't done before?
That's it.
And I don't know. What do you think?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they're trying, or I don't know if they need to. I guess they just like they're so far in now. It's like season 7 or whatever. They just like they know what they're doing, and they just let the writing do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, I guess they're not like the deepest of characters. In the
Exactly.
first
Right? They
place,
don't need
right?
to show like a huge amount of range. It's like, oh, okay, now do angry Rick.
Yeah.
I'll do drunk Rick. It's like,
Exactly,
okay, you can
that's a
do
good
that. We've done every single version over the 6 seasons, so you'll be fine.
Well, I did really like what they did with Solar Opposites, just completely recast.
That.
And
That was a
I
brilliant
think
thing.
that I don't know what the actor's name is, but I think he did a
It
great
was,
job.
Dan Stevens, right? It's the guy,
Yeah.
He's Legion, and yeah, I'm a big fan of his. He's did you ever see? I know we went off on tangents, but did you ever see the interview he did on British TV? I can't remember what project it was for that he got, but it was like live breakfast TV, and the host was saying about like it was hard part to win, like you had to go, and she said you have to beat off a lot of American men to get the part. Right? And his face, because she doesn't realize what she's saying, and his face right away, he's just like, yep. And the other host is just like look it over. Anyone who's watching this, like pause the podcast and go and look up Dan Stevens beating off American man. It's one of the funniest clips I've ever seen.
Maybe go into incognito mode before you
know what,
search that one.
The algorithm will get all screwed up. No, but that's mostly what I've been watching. I've not been watching a ton of movies. I feel like I don't have the stamina by the time I've done my days. It's like we're getting into December. It's just always so busy. So I don't remember the last movie I watched was Napoleon.
Oh, really?
I think so. Yeah.
Well, the other one I've watched since then was The Holdovers. Had you heard about this one?
I think so.
It's the
Remind
new
me what
it's the new Alexander Payne movie with Paul Giamatti.
Oh yes, I do.
It's sort of is like a what if Breakfast Club happened over Christmas break in like a Snooty Boys academy.
I'm in. Sold.
It's pretty good. Like I think the first 2 acts are incredible. It loses a bit of steam, but I think it's really really solid. If you like those kind of like teen dramas and like really funny scenes of like people just like talking to each other, it's great.
Yeah, well, I mean, you get Paul Giamatti, and that's kind of what you're on, right?
Yeah, playing a very ugly version of himself too, which is really funny.
Right. Nice.
But no, it was good. I'm not the biggest Payne fan, but I quite like this one.
Yeah, no, I'll have to add that It's my ever-growing list. Like
Yeah,
I
and
say.
it's a Christmas one, so it's timely.
Oh yeah, well, actually, no. Now you've made me realize that I have been watching a ton of Christmas movies with the kids.
Oh, like a Christmas Prince, that sort of thing.
But yeah, well, no, we have like a whole ton. I don't know if we want to get into Christmas stuff right now, but maybe we'll save that for the next one.
Yeah.
But yeah, we have a whole ton of Christmas movies that we like just have in the pot, and we pull them out of the pot and just watch them. A lot of Muppets Christmas Carol, and
that one's so high up for me.
Nightmare Before Christmas is a big one in our house too.
My wife messaged me last night. Pick out a Christmas movie. Anyone you watch, I'll watch it.
Right.
And then so I had Gremlins ready to go.
I keep trying to get that one going as well.
But then she was too tired to start it, and she didn't appreciate my shenanigans because that's not what she meant by a Christmas movie. Even though that one is a legit Christmas movie, like you can't even argue about that.
I think so. Like, there's lots of movies like that because I said that to my wife. I was like, we should watch. I want to start watching like Christmas movies that the kids can't watch that like I want to watch. Like, I really want to watch Lethal Weapon and Kiss Kiss Bang Bang and stuff like that. They're like I've not seen those for.
I forgot that Kiss Kiss Bang Bang was a Christmas movie.
Yeah, that's like a great Christmas movie. So that was my plan. I haven't got around to that because I've just been inundated with like the new animated Netflix Scrooge. It's actually not that bad.
I haven't even heard of this one.
Yeah, it's a musical animation. They did it last year or the year before, I think. It's fine.
Did you see the Scrooge one they did on Apple TV Plus last year with Ryan Reynolds and Will Ferrell?
I've got a copy of it that I was supposed to watch last year and never got to it. So
I really don't like it.
It's not good because I was like, it's got those two guys and it's got to be good, right? But
I feel bad for saying so because it does seem like it was made very earnestly and they're both putting a lot of effort into it.
I feel that's like the worst, isn't it? When you like the people, you can tell they're trying really hard. Everyone's doing what they should be doing.
You can tell everyone's trying really hard. It's not a good script.
Doesn't come out right.
No. And it's a musical too, and I don't think I cannot tell you what a song was from that one. And I'm pretty into musicals, right? So I should be able to remember, but no. And like I said, I feel like we're coming off so negative on this podcast so far. I think just like having seen Marvel's and Napoleon 2 in a row, it ends up sounding a little negative, and I don't like to be negative, especially when I feel like people are trying hard and
the reason why we made this podcast is because we love movies, right?
I know, we're just some fans, right?
Let's make a podcast and shit on movies.
Yeah. All right, so what's next on our
let's move ourselves onto our list here. I think we were talking about doing a game or something.
Oh yeah, okay.
Oh, you want to do the question first or do the game first?
Oh, let's do the question first.
Okay,
we'll save the game if we have time for it.
Yeah, so there's something we were thinking of adding into the structure here was like throwing out a question. The idea was to throw it out to the audience, right, Trevor, to get their try and get their input.
I would also like to put my thumb on the scale.
We're definitely gonna be putting our input in, but we want to hear from you guys as well, as whether you think we're idiots or whether we've missed one out. But yeah, so we'll go. Seeing as though we're going to, this is our first animated movie on the podcast. The question we're going to do for this week is best animated movie of all time, right?
Yeah. No, exactly. So. We want to hear from you guys. Like, what do you think is the greatest of all time? That's right at the top of the list. And you can contact us on our socials. First Look Final Word on Instagram and Twitter.
We're pretty much everywhere.
Are we on Facebook?
Yeah, we are on Facebook.
Are we on Facebook?
Oh yeah.
Okay, well, great.
On Facebook.
Good for us. And then First Look Final Word pod at gmail.com too.
Get that boomer crowd.
Yeah, no, for sure. So what do you think about this one, Pete? Do you want to take us off?
I think it's a great question because there's quite a lot of variation in what you consider would be a great animated movie. It's like, is it the best animation? Is it the best movie? Is it one that you just like the most because you saw it when you were a kid? So that's what I was kind of thinking of, especially now that I've got young kids of my own. Like watching a lot of animated movies and a lot of dross. And a lot of things that I thought were classics from when I was a kid, and tried to rewatch and realize that I had the old nostalgia sort of glasses on. But like I actually, when I was thinking about it, I went, and I don't know if this is just recency bias, but like I really like the stuff that's been coming out like quite lately, like that kind of renaissance they've had with the animation style and like the cell shading and the stuff they did with Spider-Man and the stuff they did like with that new Turtles movie. Like I'm really into that stuff. And one of the first ones that did that I honestly think is one of my favorite animated movies of all time is Mitchell's versus the Machines.
Yeah.
You seen that one?
Yeah. No, it's great.
I just like, I don't know why. It's just like every part of it I really got me. Like the animation style, the story, the jokes, like everything just worked for me. And like when I was trying to think of other animated movies, it's like, oh, that one looked beautiful, but it was kind of boring. Or that one was amazing, or was really funny, but the animation was kind of flat. So I think.
So it's really the animation for you first that kind of pulls you in?
I don't know about first, but I think if you're going to do an animated movie, I feel like you should be using that medium for what it can do. It's like those Spider-Man movies would be way up there for me, because you can't make it into the Spider-Verse or Across the Spider-Verse unless you do animation. That's the whole point of those stories, I think.
Well, it's interesting because when I saw the first Spider-Verse movie, I was a little like I obviously liked it, but I was not as high in it as I thought it was going to be, and the animation was a bit of a barrier for me.
Yeah. It was a definite choice, right? It was like, it was a statement. Isn't like, are you gonna not like this, or are you gonna be totally on board with it?
So I don't know what they changed for the sequel, or just like my brain had caught up to where they were before. But like, is the new one called Across the Spider-Verse?
Yes.
I thought it was
part one, I think, technically.
Yeah, I thought it was incredible. Like I absolutely loved it. I thought it was a big step up. So definitely one of my favorite movies of the year so far. Yeah, and Mitchell's vs. Machines, like, is it the same production company behind? Like, I know it's like Sony Animation does those other two, right?
It's those two guys, right?
It's Lord and Miller?
Yeah, it's Lord and Miller. They didn't direct it, but I think they were like massively involved with it.
Yeah, because I don't think they're like, are either of them actual like animators? They did like Cloudy with Chance of Meatballs.
Yeah, that was like one of their first. I'm pretty sure, and then that's another one that I would like. They were on. I don't think they've missed with the stuff that they've done. Like everything.
Yeah, it's too bad they didn't get to do their solo movie though.
Yeah. Well, I don't know how that would have gone, to be honest. But yeah, everything they've done animation wise, I've just been like totally in the bag for.
So do you have a definitive answer, or just sort of that general area?
I don't know, because then I start thinking about like, well, you can't discount like classic Disney stuff and even like classic Ghibli stuff, right? That we'll be getting into shortly. But yeah, I don't know. For me personally, I'd probably say Mitchell's versus Machines.
Okay. Yeah. No, I wasn't expecting that.
Wow.
So I think my answer is very topical for tonight.
Oh yeah.
And I've spent the last couple weeks on the Ghibli subreddit and looking at like what
some research.
Everyone's favorite movie is, and I feel like a little basic saying this, but I think my favorite animated movie is Spirited Away.
Well, that's not a bad
it just seems like too obvious a pick, but it's a movie that when I had seen it was my very first Ghibli movie, was like my first anime movie I ever saw.
Right.
I think I was like 12 or 13 at the time, and like it completely blew me away. Like I was just absolutely floored by it. But I didn't really end up exploring that world.
Mm-hmm.
Like still, like I didn't really grow up with these movies. And then like 5 or so years ago, I'm like, I should revisit Spirited Away, because like that can't possibly be as good as it was in my mind. Like, was the twist at the end that dragon was a river? Like, is that really what happened? Like, how could that actually be good? And then, yeah, I watched it, and then I was completely floored by it again. And then that's what kind of inspired me to go through Miyazaki's full filmography. And it was honestly like one of the most rewarding experiences of my life. Like it was so great. And like, I still put that movie at the very top. So
wow,
that would probably be my answer.
It's there's a reason why it's an obvious answer though, right? It's because it is.
Yeah,
it's definitely like it'd be definitely way up there for me too. I mean, that's an amazing movie.
Yeah, I always feel so silly for going for that obvious answer, but then like saying like, well, like, why wouldn't I just say that if that's the answer? Like, someone asks you like who your favorite Star Trek character is, it's okay to say Jean-Luc Picard.
It's funny when people like, I feel like film Twitter is a bit like that, right? It's like, oh, you're so basic picking that because it's your best animated movie. Obviously, you're gonna say Spirited Away.
Yeah,
it's like, well, yeah, but like, what's better?
Yeah, no. So I also like Only Yesterday, the Takahata movie.
Oh yeah.
I like I love Wall-E. I think that might be my number two.
I forgot Pixar.
That's my favorite Pixar, and then Ratatouille is also really far up there.
Oh, really?
And then I feel bad for neither of us said like a classic Disney movie.
No, yeah, it's true and I think that like there's a few of those that I don't think have aged super well. Like when I was growing up in that age, like it was all of the like Renaissance in the '90s, where all those big movies. And I used to like think they were the best things ever made. And looking back on some of them, like they're still great movies and I enjoy them, but I'm like, yeah, this is a bit rote, pretty much, basically.
That's how I feel about The Lion King. Like,
yeah, that's a good one. I mean, it's still an amazing movie, but it's not that great.
It doesn't inspire a lot of love for me. Like I just.
And it's got great voice acting, great music, great songs. And like a great nostalgia, but yeah, as far as story goes, you're a bit like, yeah, okay.
The one from that era I still love is Aladdin.
Yeah, Aladdin's really good.
Even though that's not a very politically correct movie to watch anymore.
What do you mean?
I feel a little, I feel like am I supposed to like this? But like I find that movie very charming. Like Robin Williams' performance is one of the best voice performances ever.
Yeah, agreed.
Then I like 101 Dalmatians is like the classic Disney stuff. Like my daughter probably watched that 50 times.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, you've got a young daughter, like I've got young boys, so you must have been hammered with like, you know, your Frozens, your Moanas.
Yeah.
I think that if you're talking about movies you've seen the most,
no,
I feel like they'd be up there. They're really good. I like both of those movies.
The one she really attached herself to for a long time was Dumbo.
Dumbo, wow, really?
It's like, in that movie is a brisk 65 minutes, and she wanted to watch it.
It's depressing.
She wanted to watch it all the time, and I think it's because like
talking about movies you can't get away with watching anymore.
I love the Disney movies where on Disney Plus they come up with the warning about like, are you sure you want to watch this?
Okay, so we were kind of racist.
Yeah.
Just so you know.
I think like
different time.
She really likes when the mama elephant rocks Dumbo in her trunk.
Okay, fair play.
So that was
ears.
like 50 times going through that movie.
Wow. I don't think I've even seen that one all the way through, like more than a couple of times.
You know, it's still pretty good.
It's brisk, right? It's a short one.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. What about Encanto? That was a big one in your house, wasn't it?
Yeah, and that's one I also really like.
It's really good. I really like that too. And I don't know why I'm a big softie. I always cry in movies, and animated movies always make me cry more than live action. Like, I can't watch Encanto without crying
that's what Miyazaki's like too, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's like you just make. I don't know what it is about animation, but it's just like, here it comes. It's gonna get me.
Well, that one and Coco are like the two recent ones from Disney. That I guess Coco is Pixar, right? It's not Disney proper, but like, Disney really nailed it with Encanto, I think, and.
Yeah, they went on a bit of a good run there, actually. I hear Wish isn't that great.
And it sort of ended this year. Yeah, Wish doesn't look very good either. I think the animation looks it sort of looks like CG over hand drawn.
Yeah, I don't know what they were trying to go for, but yeah, I kind of agree.
Weird clash of styles there.
And the songs that I've heard clips from and stuff just seem pretty like uninspired as well, which for your Disney movie, if your songs aren't hitting, then you know you got problems.
Well, anyways, we'd love to hear from all of you. Like,
are we stupid?
Who's right, Pete or me? Like, what's the best?
I feel like we're missing a lot. Like, what about stop animation? We're getting into that for animation.
Yeah, well, like Fantastic Mr. Fox is one of my favorites.
I love that movie.
I also quite like Isle of Dogs, like Wes Anderson's other movie that like hardly anyone's seen.
No, I got a bit of a kick in, but I did hear it was good.
No, Fantastic Mr. Fox is great. I love Coraline.
Oh yeah, Coraline's a great one. I still can't show that to my kids though. I think it's too terrifying.
Yeah, like I showed my daughter the one scene because I have like the Coraline book.
Okay.
And she saw that that's what it was, and then she wanted to see a clip. She was going through a period where she wanted to like see scary clips from movies and go like, oh, that's not that scary.
Right.
So I showed her the one where the mother just turns around, you see she has buttons for eyes, and she's like, do not ever show me that again.
It's so hard with kids because I'm kind of the same. They did watch a bit of it, but then they got too scared. And like my youngest, he's only turning 7 next week. His favorite movie is Nightmare Before Christmas, which I'm like, it's got some pretty terrifying stuff in it. I mean, I guess it's like played not scary, even though it looks scary.
Boogie Woogie is filled with like
Right?
bugs and
It's
stuff.
just like clowns
that's
under people's
terrifying.
beds and taking off their face and stuff. It's like nightmare fuel, which is the point.
Yeah.
But then like he'll watch something that's not, I don't think scary, and he's like, "No, it's too scary." Like I remember my kid had so many nightmares because he watched Monster House. You ever see Monster House?
No, I don't think so. It's
like
not ringing a bell
It's
either.
like the house is an actual monster. It's actually really good, but it wasn't that scary. And he's like, "Oh, the house is alive."
Is that live action or?
No, it's animated.
Okay. No, I must have missed that one.
Yeah, I've never seen it all the way through, but I heard it was very good.
Up to the point where your son got too scared?
Yeah, and that's kind of, and it's funny. We'll get to that when we get into the Studio Ghibli stuff, because I see so many movies at the first half, and I've never finished them, just because my kids get bored and I never get around to finishing them. So,
Well, maybe that's a good segue into here.
sure.
Well, yeah, let us know what the best animated film is of all time.
But have we got time for our game this week, or are we gonna get into?
Maybe quick. So I was batting around an idea that we could play.
Yeah, I'm excited to hear
On
about this
the
game.
road.
Trevor's kept this one to himself. So.
Okay. So obviously this would be a little one way because you don't know what
Yeah,
it
and
is.
this is gonna show me up for having zero knowledge about anything.
So I thought we'd play a game where I could be thinking of an actor,
Oh shit.
and then I'd list 5 movies that this actor is in,
Okay.
and then like going from like less obvious of who it might be to very obvious. And then
Right.
we see where you would get like how many hints you would need to be able to guess the actor.
Right. Oh man, you put me on the spot.
Do you want to give it a shot? Well, I'm not
for it.
I'm not going for like obscure.
Okay,
so.
yeah, make it nice and easy for me. It's like Top Gun.
So how it would work, and you folks listening at home can play along too. See if you could beat Pete here.
Just screaming at your podcast device. You
So-
idiot.
So I'd list a movie, then you get to guess one actor,
Right.
and then obviously like early on, like you might be thinking like, well, maybe don't guess the lead actor.
Gotta think,
of that,
gotta
right?
think laterally, right?
Yeah. And then as we're going along, like maybe it gets more towards starring roles, or maybe it's just a more prominent role.
All right. Okay.
That would be more obvious. So what do you think?
Yeah, let's go for it.
Well, give it a try once and see if
Yeah.
this is worthwhile. Okay.
I can always edit it out if I crash and burn too hard.
Okay. So I'm thinking of one actor. Okay.
Just one. All right, got it.
All right. So the first movie is The Prestige.
Oh God. All right. Okay, I'm gonna go left field. I'm gonna start doing left field stuff here. I'm gonna go for Bowie.
That's a great guess. That is a fantastic guess. It's not David Bowie. But
I thought I had
I'm
it.
impressed you pulled that from The Prestige, because a lot of people wouldn't remember. Yeah, he plays Tesla in that,
Yeah.
right?
Oh yeah. Well,
Okay.
full disclosure, that's like my favorite Nolan movie.
Oh, I love The Prestige. It's not my favorite of his, but that's really high up for me.
Yeah, it probably shouldn't be my favorite, but I just got a soft spot for it.
I think that's probably like my third favorite.
I just love it so much. I just love the story.
Like I said, well, it's so easy for us to get distracted.
I know, right? Sorry, the second movie. So it's not him.
Maybe we'll
Shit,
save favorite Nolan for next time.
Okay, now I'm trying to think who else is in that movie.
Okay.
It's obscure.
Well then, because you know it so well, then maybe this will be easy for you. Okay, so second movie is Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Oh my word. Age of Ultron.
That almost should have been the first one. There's 50 actors in that
my
movie.
word. Who is in that? Oh. See, now you got me thinking. No. Oh man, now I'm stumped. Avengers Age of Ultron, who was in the Prestige. What? Okay, there's just gonna be dead air here because now I'm just like,
Yeah, people are screaming. They're screaming at the.
like who? Who is it? Might have to take a pass.
Okay, and that's okay.
Yeah.
That was a little.
I'm just thinking.
There's a little bit of a cheeky one there.
I've been so long since I've watched Avengers Age of Ultron. I'm like, it's none of the Avengers, is it? Am I going to make myself look like an idiot?
Okay, and now leading into this one is Black Panther.
Black Panther.
So, and obviously a character that was in both Age of Ultron and Black Panther.
And the Prestige.
Yeah.
I'm forgetting somebody from the Prestige. I'm going to kick myself. What?
It
So
might not be someone you even realize that
No,
is them.
it's somebody who's like was a nobody in Prestige, probably, right, in the background. So somebody who was in Age of Ultron and
Black Panther
Black
playing the
Panther.
same character.
It's not like Martin Freeman.
No, that's a good guess though.
He's not in the Prestige. What are you talking about?
But it's a British film, right?
Maybe
So
he's stuck in the background somewhere. And I didn't notice.
he's in the audience like clapping.
Right? Could have been.
Okay.
Jeez,
So
this is really hard.
I don't mean to put you on the spot.
No,
here.
no, I like it. I've actually
Okay.
enjoyed it. But
Okay.
the Prestige just totally threw me off. And I went and said it was my favorite movie, and now I can't even remember who's in it.
All right. So fourth clue is the Batman.
The Batman. Batman. Oh, man. Who was in the Batman that was in Black Panther? What? Man, you've really pulled one out here. Jeez. Yeah, there's a lot of people screaming at me right now, isn't there? The Batman. Okay, let me
I think now you're going to be kicking yourself.
Yeah, definitely. The Batman that was in what? No, I don't know. I have no idea.
All right.
I have no idea. Give me the last one. There's another one, right?
Yeah, no, there's another one. Okay.
Oh boy.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
I don't know who was in that. Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Oh, I know who it is. And I'm brain farting now. Oh, why is his name popped out of my head? In the Batman? Oh, he's the guy, the man.
Yeah, I know. Do you want me to help you a little bit?
Yeah, go on then.
Okay, so he's
the guy,
Gollum.
Yeah, Gollum, yeah.
Andy Serkis.
You threw me off with the freaking. Oh, man.
Well,
How did I not? I'm embarrassed now. That's embarrassing.
So I put you on the spot there. We all get those like little.
No, that was
brain
a
blocks.
really great shout, though. Like, I was trying to think,
Because he was Claw
Yeah, he was.
in both
yeah.
Age of Ultron and Black Panther.
Yeah, totally skipped out of my mind.
And then he's Alfred in the Batman.
Oh shit, he is, isn't he? Man, that was a great one. Well played, Trevor. I'll do one for next time.
Okay, you can get your revenge on me.
No, I'll take that.
He does have
I should have got that.
He does have one of those names though that like everyone's heard of him, but then it might not be on the tip of your tongue.
Yeah, I don't know why that happens with me for certain. Like, we always.
Well, especially because he's so known for those motion capture performances, right? So then
There's just certain
when he pops up, sometimes you don't realize
certain
it's
names
him.
that I don't know why my brain doesn't want to let me say.
Yeah.
And it's going to sound funny, but I was about to say like that happens with me all the time, and now I can't remember his name. I'm not even joking. That's literally what just happened.
Yeah.
Oh, anyway.
So
I remember it. I'll let you know.
So do you like that game? Okay, you can maybe get me back next time if you like that.
Yeah. I'm into that. We've got time. We could do one each, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll have to do another one because I've got to redeem myself somehow. Yeah, that was terrible.
I do have another one planned, but
Keep it in the back pocket.
well, just in case, like, because if you got the one for the Prestige, because he was Tesla's assistant.
Yeah, I forgot. See, that's what I mean. I was trying to think who was in it, and I forgot he was in it.
Well, yeah, I went through a bunch of Nolan movies last year, and then I'd seen that. I'm like, is that Andy Serkis? Holy, like, what the heck's he doing here?
He pops up
the
in a
12th
lot.
role in this movie.
He pops up in a lot back in the day.
Yeah,
he's a good actor, and then like
his role in Andor this last year, or I guess was that last year or 2022? Maybe.
That's a good question, actually. No, he was great in that.
Yeah.
Just that I can't swim. Spoilers, by the way.
Well, because they were just talking about their summers.
Yeah, they're just talking about swimming.
All right, so we're kind of pulling up to the theater here.
Yeah, we never really got into. I mean, I never really got into my history with Studio Ghibli, and I know you talked about it a bit when we were talking about animation. But I mean, I'm impressed that you've gone through his whole back catalogue because I got massive gaps. I think I've seen like 3 of his movies all the way through, out of how many it is, 20 odd.
Oh, really? No, I'm very late to the game, so I feel like a little embarrassed because like some people like grew up with him, right, and they just absolutely like cherish all of those movies.
Yeah.
And I would consider myself like a very intermediate fan. Like I love them, but I just don't have a long history with them. But I'd honestly say he's one of my favorite directors.
Yeah, I am blessed and so than even you actually. I'd never seen a movie of his all the way through until my kids started watching him, and I sort of pushed it on him because I wanted to get into it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so so you never really caught Spirited Away when it first came out.
Never really saw any when I was growing up, which I'm kind of disappointed about because I really would like to have been able to experience that like as a kid with an impressionable mind and all that. But
yeah,
because like some of those I love, like Spirited Away. The big one in my house is Totoro.
Yeah,
the kids love that one. I've seen that more than any others. But yeah, most of the others, I keep trying to get them to watch them. So like I'll put on like last week I put on Kiki Delivery Service.
I love that
Got
movie.
like 45 minutes in and they turned it off, and I was like, but I want to see what
you should fit. Like that's. I honestly forgot to mention that one. It's one of my favorites. It's
the other one I hear really good things about is Princess. What is it? Mononoke? I don't know.
Yeah, Mononoke.
Mononoke. Yeah, that's supposed to be way up there. And I'm not.
Yeah, that's not
put that one on.
That's not for your kids though. Don't.
Oh no.
Yeah, it's very violent.
Yeah,
but
it's funny because when you put your Netflix settings on or Disney settings on like kids, you can set what age range.
Yeah,
and it cuts out like a ton of them.
Yeah,
I was like, I'm sure there's Studio Ghibli movies on here. Why I can't find it?
Yeah,
like, no, that's not for kids. That one. No, but I'm excited to see this one because I've kept clear of everything that I've seen of it so far, apart from one thing I saw that said it was his best.
Well,
and I was like, well,
and
okay.
it's sort of deliberate too because they've done almost no advertising for it.
Yeah, that's true. I've not seen anything for this
one.
one.
I have no idea what this movie is about, and I'm very happy to go in blank.
And we didn't mention it was supposedly his last one, right?
Supposedly, I think he's given up hints that he might, because he's played this game before.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was supposedly his last one, the last like 3 that they've done, but
yeah,
they seem to be like saying that this one's. It seems like this one's a bit more personal, maybe. So maybe he's thinking I'll sign off on this personal story, but I don't know. I hope it's not.
Well, we're at the theater now, so
yeah, we made good time today.
Yeah, so. Or we just
those of you keeping track of that stuff.
Yeah, people just trying to dox us based on how long it takes. We really threw them off with Napoleon because we hit traffic.
Yeah, you threw me off doing that one. Yeah, okay, so I guess that's it for right now.
Stay tuned for a spoiler-free review coming back from the break. Also, we'll tell you when to pee.
No, can't forget that. How long is this one, by the way?
Like 2 hours 2 minutes. So
okay,
yeah.
All right, guys.
See you soon.
Yep, catch you later.
Bye.
All right, welcome back, everyone.
Yeah, here we go.
Just came out of the theater. I've been seeing A Boy and a Heron. I'm sure you're all dying to know.
The Boy and the Heron.
What did I say?
A boy.
A boy and a heron.
Yeah.
There's definitely a boy and a heron in it.
Yeah.
All right, so Trev.
No. I went first to Napoleon. Yeah,
right, I'll go first.
Yeah,
I thought it was amazing. Yeah, I feel like I feel the same way I do with. I was going to say a lot of his movies, but I did say that I've only seen a couple of them. But I kind of like the way that they take it. They don't rush with the getting into the story. They I don't want to say it's like plodding, but they just build with slowly build up to total crazy madness, which I think worked really well on this one. But yeah, it's really well done. I thought really mad. it kind of broke my brain a little bit towards the end there, but no, I just thought some of the visuals in it were amazing. It's funny and heartfelt. I just thought it was great. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really know much. I feel like, how do you not spoil this movie because it's so crazy?
Yeah, that's true.
To get into it, but some of the, I don't know. I was going to say your thoughts because I've not seen as many of his movies as you, but I thought the art style was quite a little bit different. It felt like a lot of the matte paintings were sort of impressionistic almost, which I don't think I've seen before.
Well, what I felt like was, and I don't think this would be spoiling anything, is that he sort of referencing his own movies throughout, and there's a lot of different styles kind of put into the same movie.
Yes.
Like even like the human characters look very different from each other.
Definitely.
It's kind of just like borrowing from the different elements, and yeah, sometimes it looks like it's just like very still matte paintings is a good way to put it, and they're kind of interacting with that.
Especially at the start, right? Like, it felt like they did a really good job of making like the real world seem like very dreamlike, and then when he went into the other sort of area without getting too into it, it kind of went away from that. Even though it was more crazy in there, it seemed more defined, which was interesting, I thought.
Yeah, no. Well, to share my viewpoint, I would agree that it was really amazing. It was confounding, but not in a way that I would say was frustrating.
Yeah, that's a really good way to put it, actually.
I like you sort of just end up getting lost a bit, but you just enjoy yourself.
Yeah, like you're so into it, like you're so invested into it, even though you don't really know what's happening.
Yeah.
I guess it would be a good way to say it.
It's like, I think Spirited Away is probably the closest analog to that, and that is just, like this, it's a dream movie where I'm sure there are certain interpretations you could take from it, but you can also just let it wash over you.
Mm-hmm.
And I assume that this is probably going to perplex some people going to go see it, but I think it's incredibly worth the trip out to the theater to go see it. And this is one that's going to be very rewarding to rewatch.
Oh, I agree with that. Yeah.
All right.
Definite recommendation from First Look Final Word.
And I didn't really end up going pee.
Neither did I, actually.
I think I did not notice a single person get up from their seat from the theater, so that can kind of tell you something, that it was sort of just something that's sucked you in the entire time.
Yeah, I find it really interesting that I managed to do that, because especially like for the first 45 minutes to an hour, it was kind of just like not a whole lot of stuff going on, just really just bedding into the story, and kind of like this, because in my mind goes to like, could you take your kids to this? And I mean, I guess you probably could, but
yeah, I
don't know. I think it takes too long to get into the fun, crazy stuff to keep kids' interest.
And then once you get there, like there's some horrifying things in there.
There's some pretty dark stuff in there.
So I don't know. Yeah, I'd say probably like 10 would be the youngest age. Though I think this would be a movie I would just have eaten up as a little kid.
Oh, no doubt, yeah. And my son would probably love it, but I don't know if it would have enough to keep his attention. Great Sky shot with his attention, but like without spoiling anything, like just at the beginning where he's like making his own bow and arrow, I'm like, that's my kid. That's exactly what he would do.
Yeah. All right, so should we maybe get into spoilers? Is there anything else we want to get through?
If you haven't seen it, I guess you can give it a pause here and come back after you've seen the movie and hear us go a bit more in depth to it.
All right, and if you do have to go pee during the movie, go at the 1 hour 25-minute mark. As soon as Mojito bites into that, like a jam sandwich sort of thing, you can go right after that. All right, so spoiler talk in 3, 2, 1.
Okay, you've been warned. So,
yes.
Those freaking parakeets are the funniest thing I've ever seen.
Then, so as they were leading him into the building,
with the knives,
and then they had the knives behind the back. That is like, of all the movies I've seen this year, that is probably the funniest moment, and that's also probably the scariest moment. Like that was absolutely horrifying.
It's kind of genius to make it like super dark, but have them be parakeets. It's like, it's genius. It's just like, this is silly. Like, they're parakeets, but like, oh no, they're the bad guys, and they're gonna eat them and kill them.
Yeah.
Like that's,
and they're
how does my brain process this?
And they're all fascists. Like exactly, they had like a parakeet Mussolini in there. It was amazing.
Voiced by Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out all the voices. I'm like, there's not unrecognizable. There's no way you're not noticing Dave Bautista's voice.
Well, I had looked it up before, but then
I then instantly forgot.
I forgot that it was Robert Pattinson
So
who was
did
playing the
totally
Heron.
Forgot, yeah, because I was like, who was playing the Heron? It's got to be someone that I know.
Like, bravo, he did an amazing job.
I would never have guessed that in a million years.
Yeah. Well, I was wondering as we were going there whether we were going to get a dubbed or a sub version. I assumed we were going to get a dubbed because the movie had come out in July in Japan, so I assumed they were waiting for the North American distribution to do the dub.
Yeah, and I'd heard that they pulled in a bunch of top tier actors to do it.
Yeah.
So surprised.
They always manage to get pretty good people out for the Ghibli dubs. I prefer subs most of the time myself.
That was actually something I was going to bring up, but we never got to on the way. But we can talk about it now. Yeah, I was going to ask you that question because I was the same way. I was like, I wonder if this is going to be the subtitles version or the dub version. I was like, we should talk about that because.
Yeah. Well, what do you think? What would you have preferred?
I typically prefer subtitle movies with, especially with Japanese stuff, but. I don't know. It really depends on the dub. I think for me, when they put, I think we talk about this already, but maybe before the pod. Like when they really put the effort in and like do a proper production, get really good talent in and actually do it well.
Yeah,
I really like it, but sometimes you can tell it's a bit like of an afterthought, and I can't stand that. Like a lot of TV show dubs are brutal.
Well, I'm a guy who likes to have subtitles on anyways.
Yeah, me too, actually.
Because I think my brain just doesn't work that my brain just doesn't work that well. So even when people are speaking English in like an accent that I'm very familiar with, I sometimes have a hard time understanding what the hell they're saying.
You can miss a lot as well. Like when I put the subtitles on because I'm like, oh, I didn't catch that in what they were saying.
Yeah.
Especially with like background chat, you're like, oh, that might be an important piece of information.
Yeah. Well, for this one though, like I think you're absolutely right. Like everyone did a great job. So
you know what? I agree with that, except for I think Christian Bale was pretty poor.
He's done the. I would agree with that. And he's done some Ghibli movies before.
He didn't have a big part. And
well, the part where he's like, "My boy's a parakeet." Like, did that not remind you of that part from The Simpsons when Homer Simpson goes to the box factory? They can't find Bart, and Bart's hat is on top of the box. He's like, "My boy's a box." Like that.
Yeah.
I thought that was great, but yeah, he was like. Sometimes he had his English accent, and sometimes he didn't.
Yeah, I think that because at the start there wasn't a lot of talking right at the start, and one of the characters that you heard a bit from was that character, and I was a bit like, oh, like I don't really know what he's doing with that performance there. Like you say, his first line it was like, oh, he's doing his Cockney, and then it's like, no, now he's doing something else.
And he was top billed too.
Yeah, oh yeah, he's got a good agent.
I was gonna say, even though like
had like 4 lines,
Pattinson had like a lot more dialogue than he did.
And I didn't realize Florence Pugh was in that.
Yeah, she was the young version of
his mom, right? Kimiko, whatever. Or is it she the young version? Oh, is she?
She was the young version of like she was like the pirate captain or whatever. Yeah, I'm not sure who was playing the.
Yeah, because that makes more sense. I was like, that was weird to have Florence Pugh to that point, but that makes a lot more sense. I forgot that character was even in it.
So the thing that I had assumed from the beginning, and then I don't know if they ever really said explicitly until he kind of figured it out towards the end, was that like his new stepmom is also his aunt, right?
Yeah, that was something that I was a bit confused about at the beginning because
I don't think that they hand fed that to you. I think you kind of just had to figure it out.
I knew that's what it was happening, but the circumstances around that I found a bit confusing because they showed up at the beginning, and the dad was like, "Oh look, like this is the lady. Doesn't she look just like your mom?" So I'm like, "Has he never met this person before? But she's already pregnant by you? Like, what is happening?" And then I was like, "How long is supposed to have passed?" I know it says at the beginning it's like it's 3 years or something since his mom dies.
Yeah, it was at the beginning of the war, right?
But then I was like, wow, he's moved on to that quick. He moved on to the sister who looks exactly like his dead wife and got her pregnant quite quickly.
His dad was a dirty dog.
Yeah, but then I was waiting for there to be a reveal where like
that was his mom the whole time.
No, I thought the dad was going to have knocked the mom off to get with the sister.
Oh, yeah,
that was going to be some sort of dark murder plot.
That would be pretty dark. Because there was some like confusing scenes where like he suddenly starts calling her mother and stuff, right? So
that was,
I-
it was a bit confusing.
I thought maybe at some point they're going to say like, well, that's actually his real mother, but she was too young at the time, so then someone else played that role. But
yeah, the whole situation there, like I say, that first section of the movie where it's just them settling into the house and stuff, I was like, this just seems weird. Like something's going on here. It's like you just move your family into your wife's sister's place.
Well, and but that whole like first scene, like I was thinking about Totoro the whole time, about them moving to like the country home.
Similarities there for sure. Yeah.
And then you're surrounded by all these like grotesque older people who just are kind of pulled right out of Spirited Away.
One character looked like she was actually from Spirited Away.
Yeah, she's like the witch, right?
Yeah. It's like I think they just used that character again. Yeah, and then what was the name of those white ball things? I can't remember.
They were like the black specks from Totoro, right?
And Spirited Away, right? It's just like like my youngest son would be all over that. Just cutesy white ball.
Yeah, and then they fucking get eaten by
just grimly, just like getting and then burnt to death.
Yeah. Well, you got to burn some of them.
You got to burn some fluff balls to save the rest of them.
Yeah.
There was some like really overly dark things, like the pretty random death scene of the pelican, who apparently was played by Willem
Dafoe. Yeah. who always shows up.
Grim, dark scene of just like a tortured soul dying after a long, hard life.
Yeah.
It's like, Jesus, okay.
It's like, yeah, sorry, we eat the babies, but life is hard. Like this world is difficult.
Yeah, there's nothing else to eat. That's why we're here. Oh God. Yeah, I kind of I missed the sort of reason as to what that world or whatever it was supposed to be, why it needed to be. I kind of didn't really get that, like the great uncle or whatever created this world, but like for what purpose? Because I sort of thought at the beginning when it was like, oh, these are new souls going up to your world to become people, I was like, oh, is this some kind of...
Yeah, sometimes it gives the impression like this is an eternal in-between plane.
But towards the end it was like, no, this is just another world that I made, and now it's falling apart. I was like, well, that's weird. Like, what was happening before or after this world exists then?
Well, I think a lot about because the movie took place during the Second World War, right? And Japanese society is basically like collapsing around them. So I was thinking about it like that, where the uncle's part of that old guard who are trying to create a world in a certain image, and then with certain ideals, but then that world has like some really terrible dark shit in it, and then just kind of, and then he was trying to hand that off to the next generation, but then the kid didn't want any part of it, right?
That world's gone, like for the new world.
He just wanted to create his own world. So I was kind of thinking about like that, like Japanese society in the 40s, and then, but that's kind of passing from any generation to the other about like, what do you want to, like, do you want to take something from the old generation and bring it forward, or do you want to like start something new, or is it a mix between the two?
Yeah, that's a really great observation. Actually, it's pretty, I like the metaphor.
Not that I think that's like necessarily that's like the skeleton key of the movie. Like,
no, but it's one of those, like you're saying, there's one of those things might be good for repeat viewing because there's probably lots of different interpretations and readings you can have from it.
Well, and I assume because when the project was first announced, it was announced that he was basing it off of a book from the 1930s called How Do You Live?
Okay.
And then that was the original, that was like the title that everyone thought that the movie was until very recently, like last year, they said it's actually called The Boy and the Heron.
Right.
And you saw in the movie, the kid, the book that his mom leaves him was the book How Do You Live?
Oh, was it?
And he was flipping through it.
Okay.
But I have no idea what that book is about, how much the movie pulled from that. Mm-hmm. So I assume like a lot of what's there is from that text, and also watching a movie from Japan, there's probably a lot of like cultural significant stuff that we just
goes right over our
don't
heads.
capture.
Yeah,
But
no doubt.
you know, it's still like it's incredibly universal movie, I would say.
Just like the visuals in it are just so like nobody else could do that. It's just like they're so unique, but like just the heron, like
I was thinking
the slow reveal of that heron becoming basically a little old man in a suit.
Yeah,
Was just so well done. Like when you first see that, I remember seeing, I was like, that's weird. A bird with teeth looks weird, because that was like the very first little inkling when you just saw the teeth. And it was like, hold on, is that like a nose underneath the beak?
Yeah.
With a mouth? Like, what is going on?
I thought it had swallowed an octopus when I first saw it.
It was just like so weird and creepy. And then it was like, oh, it's a guy in a suit.
It was an incredible reveal. And like,
right?
it's so perplexing. Like, what do you make of that?
I love it. I love the absurd stuff like that.
Yeah.
Where it's just like, that's what I mean. It was such a slow reveal. I thought, where it was like, what is this thing? Is it like, what's it trying to do? Why does it have teeth? And then just when he first goes into like the tower or whatever it is, and he's just like flying around before he shoots with the arrow, it's like the really sinister like presence, and then he shoots with the arrow, and it turns into like a comedy sidekick.
Oh yeah,
I was like, that's just brilliant.
Yeah, when he's saying like, oh yeah, go up, see your mother, and they're like, it's a trap, like that. It's really really creepy scene. So
yeah.
I don't know, like it just feels like, and the heron is like, it's so beautiful, but then it's also so ugly.
Yeah. And like the total change of the whole design of it in like an instant.
Yeah.
It's just like, wow, it's so well done, and it's like not jarring in a bad way, but like, yeah, just like I find that stuff really well done, because you could easily have that look ridiculous. And
I know, like I
just like, that's just dumb.
I don't know how you could pull that off, and I don't know if you could pull that off doing that with computers. Like I think that's like that's a benefit of hand-drawn animation. Like,
I definitely agree with that. Yeah, there's just something about it where it's, you can do that kind of stuff, and it, like you say, if you try and go for too realistic with it, it just looks ridiculous.
Yeah. But no, I think the heron is a good way to examine the whole movie, because I think, and I'm still like, this is one of the downfalls of our podcast, is that you kind of have to process things right away.
It's too fresh.
But it seems like, you know, Miyazaki has this fascination with nature.
Oh yeah.
And it seems in the heron, like the heron is nature and like the natural world, but also maybe people, and that, like, you know, there's great beauty there, but there's also like really like ugliness too.
Right.
So I don't know, that's how I'm thinking about it. Like,
yeah, it was interesting that all of the sort of antagonist characters were all birds.
Yeah.
Like really interesting, and like birds that really like to poop on people. They did not slack on drawing in the poop only in the real world. I was like, is that trying to say something with that? Like, this is how they're being evil in the actual world, is just by shitting on everyone.
Well, what got me thinking about that was, I assume you haven't seen The Wind Rises.
No,
like that was his most recent one, and it's like 10 years ago now. Like, this is his first movie in 10 years.
I realized that,
because he finished Wind Rises in 2013, and then said he was retiring, and then
he retired for a bit.
Started storyboarding this movie in 2016. We started working on it in 2017. They were working on it over COVID until 2022. So it was like a long haul to get a movie like this done.
Yeah, no doubt. It's a long time.
But The Wind Rises and Porco Rosso also before that was a lot about his fascination with airplanes, and how they're like these beautiful specimens, but then all airplane innovation, airplane design was kind of accelerated by war.
Oh yeah.
And so you have these beautiful objects that are just these objects of war.
Yeah, because wasn't that what Dad was making in the factory in this one as well?
Exactly. So
the
dad is making these airplanes, and he even goes in and he admires how beautiful they look. But then,
like, becoming affluent from the war, obviously, from his factory doing so well.
Yeah, and then those are going on the top of airplanes, which are going to go, like, you know, bomb people, right? And So that's kind of what I was thinking. Maybe that's what the birds were also airplanes in the same regard, right? So like, and it's the same sort of thing. Like they're beautiful, but they're also like horrifying.
Look beautiful, but if they're the size of you, they'd be horrible.
Yeah,
which is probably true. Birds are horrible mostly.
No, yes, for sure.
They'll eat anything. They'll do anything. Give them some knives.
Man, that scene with them holding the knives behind their back, like that's gonna haunt my dreams.
And they really did double down on the they were always carrying weapons and looking sinister.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what made me. One of the things I love most about that was the heron's disguise as a parakeet.
Oh, it's just like the little bobbly heads.
The worst
so
disguise
funny.
I've ever seen, and they're so oblivious to it. And then the way they escape is he just puts a pot over him and walks past the wall.
Yeah.
It's like these birds are so stupid. Yeah, I love that.
Well, because they're just dumb fascist birds, right?
Small brain birds.
And like King Dave Bautista Mussolini was the stupidest of them all.
He was running around all stealth-like. And it's amazing too.
But yeah, just that felt very timely. That whole thing is like this
leader,
big dumb leader who ascends to power and then doesn't understand anything around him and then just fucks things up.
Just runs in, blusters, and fucks everything.
I charged ahead like a good king should. Like
exactly. Yeah. When it says that.
When is Dave Bautista bad? Man? He is so good.
He is so good. I don't think I've seen him in anything bad. Didn't he do one of those movies with kids at one point? Didn't he do? I'm sure he did a movie with a kid.
Oh, like the Tooth Fairy kind of thing. Yeah,
I'm sure he was in one of those.
He might have. I'd have to look at his filmography. I
might just be thinking of like The Pacifier or something.
I think he might. I think like he was in The Scorpion King 3 was like his one of his first movies or something.
So even existed.
I assume he's bad in that. I would have to think.
I can't imagine he had very much material to work with on that one.
So maybe we could talk about favorite moments. Like, do you have anything that like we talked about a few, but is there anything that stands out?
Other than the ones we talked about, obviously the knives behind the back, and I think the first big reveal of the heron, like when he shoots it, I really did like that. But outside of that, let me think. I think I'd have to go with that. The knife, we can't get away from the knives behind the back. It was the best shot of just like.
Oh, then the theater just erupted in laughter.
It was amazing, so well done.
And it was such a great experience watching in that theater with like those are the hardcore Miyazaki fans. You could tell who came out on the Thursday night that it's opening. Like we had to fight to get seats, basically.
Yeah, which you wouldn't have expected.
The moment that I think I'm gonna really take away with me is when the whole sequence when the world like inside the stone starts collapsing is just so well done. They're all kind of retreating.
Yeah.
And then he's with what was her name? Like the
don't ask me. I'm terrible with names.
Anyway, so the character's like the young version of his mom, basically.
Yeah. Okay. Right.
And like you kind of know that that's his mom. Like you kind of have guessed it. But then in the hallway, like she kind of confirms it. She's like,
you're my son now.
I have to go here so then you're born. Like you're such a good son. I'm so proud of you. Like that got to me. Like
it was really odd the way they did that. I thought because like right away she was like, oh, that's my sister. And like, oh, that must be his mom. But they never really spelled out. So I was like, does he not realize? Because that seems very obvious. But then it seems like he did realize. They just didn't think to mention it. And he was like, I knew that all along.
Yeah. But I don't know why. Like you saw it coming from a mile away, but then like it still feels like such a gut punch.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't know,
and that's why I think it's so good because they did such a great job. Like I keep going back to like that first half of the movie where it was just slow and like showing you how much he was affected by it, right? And those little scenes where he finds the book and he's just like in tears.
Yeah,
it's just like you know how deeply he feels it when his mom moves, even though she's a little girl, is like you're a good boy or whatever.
Yeah,
like that gets you in the feels.
Part that felt like we read on the IMDb synopsis that it was like semi-autobiographical.
Yes.
And the part that I thought like this must have some sort of truth to it is when he hits himself with a rock in the head.
Yes,
I just felt like
that did come across as like
that's so specific.
Yeah, and it was like why would you have that in there?
Yeah.
It seemed like weird, not weird, but it didn't seem like they hadn't built that up. Like normally stuff like that happens, you're like waiting for it to happen.
Yeah.
But it kind of just seemed like out of nowhere. Like when he picked the rock up, I was like, oh, what's he gonna do? Is he gonna throw it or something? And he smacks himself in the head. But I was like, wow, that was a choice.
And then
why did he do that? I didn't really ever really like explain why he did it.
Yeah,
because he mentions it. He says, "I gave myself this scar
out of malice."
Out of malice, but it's like, okay, so
yeah, I guess it's just like
you mad at yourself.
It's just a manifestation of his grief, and like he got into a scrap at school, but I don't know. He felt like maybe I didn't get hurt enough to get the attention I want at home. So like.
I thought that was interesting because there's many reasons, right? Like you just said, like there's many reasons why he could have done that, but it wasn't really clear to me why. Well, was he trying to get out of going back to school? Was he just trying to hurt himself because he was in pain?
It feels very true to childhood, though. Like I remember myself like doing just a bunch of random crap, going like, "Why the?"
Just smashing yourself in the head.
Yeah, smashing myself in the head with rocks.
We've all been there, right? We've all wasn't smashing himself in the face with a rock.
No, but kids are compulsive and complex, and like you can ask your daughter like, why the hell did you just do that? She's like, I don't know. I have no idea why I just did that.
Very true.
That seems very true to childhood to me, and like I would have to guess like something like that had happened to him as a kid. It just feels
you would think, right? Like I don't know anything about his life story. Like, did he lose his mother? I'm sure he.
I can't remember. Like
saying that semi-autobiographical, I'm guessing he probably did.
Well, I know that
maybe his dad shacked up with his aunt.
I have no idea. I know like I watched the documentary The Kingdom of Dreams and Madness, which is around him making The Wind Rises, and he talks a bit about his childhood, and I think like his dad like was a factory owner.
Okay, right.
I think it was for airplanes too, but I don't know all of his backstory, but I think the character in the movie would be older than he actually is today, right? Because he's 82, right? And so that the timing doesn't really line up. So I don't know if like maybe he's the younger child in that scenario, like who was born like partway through the war. I don't know.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's some good math there.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Well, what I also really liked about, and like during the whole opening part of the movie too, is things seem like so unreal, and you touched on that bit before. Like he hits himself with a rock, and then like a comical amount of blood comes out.
Yeah,
it's
it was
very
crazy.
stylized.
I was like, this guy's gonna bleed to death.
And it's sort of that does also like carry on throughout the whole movie. Like even things in the real world, like quote unquote real world, are also very surreal.
Yeah, I noticed that, and very much so.
There's not like really a part in the movie where you can point to and say, oh, he's dreaming. No, and this is obviously like some kind of nightmare, or like there's a clean break. Yeah. Because it goes back to the father's perspective as well. And like the father sees like the giant parakeets turn into little parakeets and stuff. And I just really appreciate that about this movie is like there's no literal interpretation you could take of the movie. Like it's a pure fantasy film.
Exactly,
like it's not like it's very similar to Alice in Wonderland in a way, but it's not doing the Alice in Wonderland thing where like he's dreaming. It's like this creative fantasy world has bled into the real world and vice versa.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. I think that's why it's really smart the way they did that, where the bit at the beginning where there wasn't any high fantasy and it was just him on this farmstead or whatever. It's like they did a really great job of making that look like fantastical with the art style, and so it's like even though that bit wasn't anything like that happening, it still seemed, you still got that impression from it.
Yeah, and you're right. Like, I think the realist the movie felt was when he was on, like he meets that like, the pirate lady who's the version of his like old grandmother. When they're on like that beach and you see like the leaves blowing and then the waves crashing, like that looks the most real. Right. Even though like they're like right in the middle of a fantasy world.
The style of it was totally different. That was one thing that you just brought that up that I kind of was a bit confused about. So when they first went to that world, the old lady was with him, right? And then she wasn't there.
Yeah.
But the young
And then she was young.
So I was like, oh, did she just turn into the young version? But that didn't seem to be the case because
she was also in his
she
pocket,
was
right?
also the little doll.
Yeah.
So that was just the younger version of her who must have somehow come to this world at some point.
Yeah, so because they established with his mother too, like
She was gone for a year or whatever. Was it?
Yeah, like
or
yeah,
a week or whatever. I forget what it was.
Yeah, she was gone for a full year.
Right.
But yeah, like time doesn't exist there the same way.
Yeah, I guess that's true. But like the old woman was never like, oh yeah, when I was younger, I used to be a pirate. Oh boy, then I guess they say you forget, right?
Yeah, the Heron did say you forget, so they got you there.
Covered me off there.
Yeah. What do you think about Mark Hamill?
I didn't realize he was Mark Hamill.
As the granduncle.
I didn't recognize him. Normally, I can twig Mark Hamill right away. But I don't know if maybe I just wasn't paying attention.
I'd seen he was on the cast list, so I was looking out for him.
And then forgot.
Yeah.
But no, I mean, he didn't have much to do, though, did he? He had like one scene.
But he was also recently in The Fall of the House of Usher.
Oh, yeah. I've not watched any of that.
Which is really good. And, like, it makes me wish that more people would cast Mark Hamill and shit, because especially in like live action, like he's always had lots of voice work.
Yeah,
he's one of the great voice actors.
Yeah,
but like he's playing this like sleazeball lawyer.
I think I saw it because I see him on Twitter posting all about stuff. So I think he posted some stills from it.
Yeah, he's really great. Like he should be in more stuff.
Yeah, he really should. So, as someone who's seen all of the Studio Ghibli movies, Trevor, where would you place A Boy and a Heron?
Like A Boy and a Heron.
Like, are we talking top 5, top 10?
Top 3. I think that's my third favorite as of right now.
Me too, but I've only seen 3. It's definitely up there.
So what are your rankings then?
I kind of flip flop. I find it difficult to decide between them because I really love Spirited Away, but I have a soft spot for Totoro just because my kids love it so much.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think my head says Spirited Away, my heart says Totoro. But I really enjoyed this one though as well. I don't know if I would put it above either of those two, but definitely almost as good as in my view.
I think I would have it as Spirited Away, and then Kiki I have a real soft spot for, and then Boy and the Heron, and then like the full Ghibli verse. Yeah, I would also put like Only Yesterday up there as well.
See, I wanted to do the same as you and just like go back and watch a bunch, especially for this. But then I was like, oh, I'm not gonna
have time.
So I was like, I just want to pick like 2 or 3 maybe that I should definitely watch. But no, yeah, good movie. All the thumbs up.
Yeah, well, we're at Pete's house now, just dropping him off for the night.
That's time.
So what's our final word? Very, very excellent movie.
Very excellent movie. I think they're the perfect words. That's our official rating. Yeah. Very excellent.
Yeah, no, 6.5 out of 6.5.
6 thumbs.
Where are we getting all these thumbs from?
Exactly.
All right.
No, yeah, definitely. So, what do we need to remind people of before we sign up, Trevor? Because I always forget. Well, we already call out socials, right? Yeah,
well, and we'd love to hear what you thought about this movie in particular. So hit us up at firstlookfinalwordpod@gmail.com. Like, search us up on all the socials, and yeah,
and don't forget, tell us your favorite animated movie. We want to hear about it. Do you agree with us?
Maybe it's this one.
Maybe it is. Do you agree? Do you not agree? I went with Mitchell vs. Machines. Trevor, you went with
Spirited Away.
Spirited Away, you did?
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah. Well, tell us what you guys think.
Okay.
All right, guys. Well,
take care.
Yeah, thanks again for joining us, and that's the final word.